Well, dude, that's where I figured we'd start, man. Like episode 115, which is crazy, but we're bringing it back to EMS days when I was trying to handle whatever 6'5", 6'6", whatever the size you were at the time. But yeah, we had some battles back in high school, and I thought, good opportunity after you put up 6 straight double doubles to get you on the pod, showcase some Canadian talent as we like to do here on the Athletes Podcast, and ultimately, you know, put forward what you've been doing over the past 5 seasons. Pretty incredible. Not many kids from White Rock, South Surrey, British Columbia end up playing at the level that you are. And man, maybe I'll let you dive into how your season's going so far, and then we'll see what those memories bring back, and see if we can bring up any Coach Finley memories or whatever we got.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I'm ready to dive in on this.
Yo, so what's this season looking like? Obviously, your team's fired up right now. You guys are feeling good, coming off a big win against Notre Dame. Tell me how it feels to be part of Boston College, pretty elite university. Last year around this time, we were talking to Nick Jogo, who's actually on Notre Dame. So it's funny, we get the NCAA little sprinkle of that in every year. But maybe give us some highlights as to what your year's been like as a senior. I know it's probably emotional time right now. March Madness coming up. What's the Coles Notes version of 2021-2022 season?
Yeah, so this season as a team, and me as a person, we've definitely had our ups and downs. It was tough. Our whole coaching staff got fired this last year, so it was getting to acquire some new pieces and use the pieces that we had last year and kind of making it work with this new coaching staff. A lot of, gaining some trust with what we have and getting a trust with the players, the coaches. So yeah, I was definitely, and I was aware of it when I stayed this year, of this was going to be a building process. This is going to be something that is going to be work, and it's going to be saying the groundwork for the future, and kind of putting BC or Boston College on the map for what the future is going to hold for it. So, we wanted to be a defensive, gritty team. And I think we've done that successfully. There's a lot of games that we've held teams under 70 points. And I think got more than 70 points. They were just close to 70 points. And the games that we usually lost were the teams that were able to score more than that. And we're able to kind of break that. And it's just kind of forming what we had and bringing it together. And then for me personally, is having, like I said, new coaches, new program-ish. It was, how do I operate my way and find my piece in that? And, I started beginning of the season, but it was, how do I find my role of the offense? Past years is I'm always kind of let the ball kind of get to me and, work how it is. But we had a deeper bench. And so we kind of wanted to, give everybody a chance to play. And, instead of having 5 guys that play majority of the game, have 7, 8 guys that play, split minutes. So I had to kind of operate and find my way to be effective and useful within a short period of time. That was kind of a different mindset change, because now it's okay, how do I impact the game with the time I'm playing? And that was definitely just an experience, and just working that way kind of changed up my game. It just made me kind of be more aggressive and make worth with what I have. So, yeah.
Yeah, what you got is pretty good. 6'9", 230 pounds. It's a pretty good physique for a basketball player, I'd say. And, you're averaging just under 30% from the three-point line. That's also pretty good for a power forward big man. I'm curious, let's maybe bring it back to high school days. Obviously you talk about learning how to find your way in the offense now, but let's roll the script backwards to playing in high school. One of the things we try and do is not only to educate and entertain, but also to inspire that next gen. And I think a lot of people will maybe look at a story like yours and say, hey, he was gifted with really good size and height from the beginning. Obviously, your brother, dad, also playing competitive basketball as well. But like, you had to work so hard, man. Like, people assume that everything's given to you because you're tall and in good shape. But like, man, I remember back in high school and we were grinding, battling back and forth, and like, we had 2, 3 guys trying to body you and we couldn't do anything, right? And like, you talk about defensive and grit ability, you possess both. What maybe were some of those foundational moments for you growing up that like instilled that work ethic and ability to continue to just get the job done no matter what?
Mhm. Well, I think my dad's always kind of helped me foster being a really competitive attitude. Like he played basketball, but he went to the Olympics for judo,
Mm-hmm.
and he yeah, he just always growing up, he always just really incentivized and was had that competitive spirit and that just kind of attack spirit. Some of the most proudest moments of some of his most proudest moments of me in his life are probably moments where I just showed crazy competitiveness and crazy fights and crazy spirit. Um, and so that's something that kind of fostered growing up. And he said something that I've always had. Just I never really realized this. He said something that I just always had. Like he said, even like as 2 years old, like he said, like him and I used to play this game where I would just run at him and he just kind of smack me in the stomach, and I would jump down, and then I would just get up and I'd laugh and I'd come and chase him, and then my grandpa would like tell him to stop. He's like, "You're gonna hurt him. Like you're smacking him." He's like, "No, look, he's loving it. Look, he's laughing. He's bouncing back up and getting." He's just said like that's just something that I would always kind of do, is just get back up and just keep attacking. And so kind of translating that to basketball, my journey has been a lot different than most players. So I did my time at Earl Marriott, and then I went to prep school for 3 years.
Yeah.
San Diego, I went to Toronto, I went to my first time the prep school in BC as well, starting a program there. So my journey was not direct. I made a lot of sacrifices, not getting to see friends. I never really graduated. I graduated. I could graduate the degree. I'm not a degree. I graduated high school, but like I didn't have any graduation.
No celebrations.
No celebration. Didn't really get to see any friends or anything during that time. I remember I would be locked up in my room, getting ready for like a game in 2 days, when I'm seeing a bunch of my friends like having fun on New Year's and stuff. Like there's a lot of sacrifices that I had to kind of make. And although I didn't really directly see at the time, the path that I chose kind of mapped out my trajectory and where I was going. So I would say the biggest thing that I can see for players who want to be great and players that make it, I've seen a lot of talented players through my time that just haven't really gone as far as they were supposed to be, just purely off of them not willing to make the sacrifice or them quitting too early. I think maybe relate back down to the whole kid thing is getting hit down and getting to come back and just keep attacking. And I'm not saying like I've made it or anything, but it's definitely that kind of keep going mentality has kind of allowed me to kind of map out a way where I've gone to where I've gotten. Because there's tons of times, even times this season, where I'm just like, shoot, man, like, should I just go and just like I got a nice degree from Boston now? Should I just go and find a good job?
Mm-hmm.
Like it basketball is a very mentally tough sport, and if things aren't going your way, you have to be able to just be like, okay, just keep going, keep going. And big thing I've been telling myself this season too is there's going to be highs and lows. Right now you might be in the low. Just push through, just wait for that high moment. I guarantee, don't give up. Just wait for that high moment. It'll be good. I think that's something the lesson you can just take in life. Life's going to beat you up pretty bad. There's going to be some real big lows in your life, but it takes maturity to realize it's not going to stay like that. Like your life can't stay low like that. Like it just, no matter what, whether you just randomly $5 on the street or something like that, like there'll be something that just kind of pop you up a little bit. So yeah, it's just kind of accepting that. And then, it's same thing with the high. Like, you could win the lottery. I mean, there's going to be things that can have low, whether family members passing, whether you make a bad investment, there's going to be lows. So it's just kind of, how do you operate that, and how do you, find a way where, you're still able to maintain some sanity and happiness going through all that. And I definitely have not found the answer for that. It's just being aware of it kind of helps, so.
Yeah, well, and being aware is the first step in acknowledging it and recognizing it and building towards it, right? And one of the things that Gary Vaynerchuk, kind of motivational, inspirational guy, business mentor, whatever, he says is like, if you look at it from the perspective of being born, you've already won the lottery. So everything after that point is bonus, and it's gravy, right? And like, I think that's a cool thing to keep in the back of your mind as perspective. Like you said, you haven't figured it out. I haven't. Majority of people haven't. But if you do have that maturity, then you can wrap your head around the fact that, hey, this is one single moment in life, and that's not going to impact me even 5 years down the road, let alone 50, right? So grand scheme of things, don't let the lows overtake those high moments, because staying even keel is worthwhile, and you get to celebrate those dubs. Speaking of dubs, transferring from BC, or from Lehigh, to Boston, feel like that was probably a smooth transition as far as being able to go into a program that you said obviously was undergoing changes, but a bit more of a recognized institution. We'll say definitely above the 49th parallel where we are, at least in Canada. But what's that like, Boston college life? I'm sure a lot of Canadians are curious as to, what life is like at an NCAA Div 1 school where, academics are almost just as much, if not more of a priority than athletics, which is not necessarily the case for typical Div 1 schools.
Yeah. So Division One, so Lehigh, that was a very academic oriented school, not as really well popular. Division One, for anyone who's asking, I had to have that multiple conversations where people, yeah, I've never heard of it. That's where CJ McCollum went. That's usually what I get. But yeah, so I had a really supportive coaching staff there, had a really great role there, great teammates. My one issue is just, it's really hard to kind of get recognized out of a program like that. The only way you kind of get recognized, like on a large scale, is making it to the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, you need to win the Patriot League, which is the league that Lehigh's in. And we had some great teams at Lehigh. We won our conference, or we tied for the win for our conference. But there's just so many factors. Like, we had to play my sophomore year where everybody was just banged up. I had 2 sprained ankles. We had a guy that was damn near concussed, a guy with like a hurt hand, dude with a hurt back. Like, our whole starting 5 was just credible. And so we were picked to win it that year, but there's just so many factors to go against, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just kind of kept on tearing me up. And I kind of thought, hey, I could transfer to a high major program, and I'm still efficient. I just need the opportunity to play.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of what I did at Boston College. And then my first year at Boston College, geez, that was an interesting experience. So this was with the old coach. This was before everyone got fired and all that stuff.
Okay.
I only played 11 games that season. I wonder what would have happened if I just said, no, I'm taking that year off. I would have another year of eligibility.
Yeah.
It's all good. I played too much. But yeah, it was just interesting. I felt like there were some questionable things going on, some loyalty kind of going on. I definitely felt like at one point in the season I proved myself, but I didn't really feel like I was getting the opportunity that I deserved. Hard to get workouts in. at times we weren't allowed to get in the gym. When we were allowed to get in the gym, they would spray it with some like anti-COVID spray, making the balls all slippery and stuff like that. Like I just remember like it was super hard to get in a rhythm that year. Like it was, and like if I watched some film on me and some practices and some of the games, I'd just be like, who the hell is that guy? Just because like I knew how skilled I was and how capable I was, but like it was like being put in like, I don't know, some foreign atmosphere and getting one arm tied behind your back and saying, hey, okay, perform. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many, like, I wish I could say like, hey, like you can put me under any circumstances, I'm going to be your guy for you. But like, no, I'm the type of guy that like, I have to be really gritty about it. I have to, you know, make sure every time we use a different ball, I have to make sure I get lots of reps with that ball. My hands are comfortable with that ball. Like, I'm just like that type of, like, I'm sorry, I'm just not naturally where I can just pick up anything and I'm just, you know, good to go. So like we were using different ball. We were using like, it was all like I said, like you would lean on the wall from like running and being tired and there'd be soap bubbles from all the spray that they sprayed in the court. Like the court was super slippery too. So it's just like super, I remember there was one time like I had like a wide open hook shot and I don't even think I got above the rim because I went to do like this and it just slipped down in my hand. And I was like, coach, like, you know what I mean? It's definitely not gonna be good, like, for coach seeing this.
Yeah.
But luckily when I started off this season, I was playing well. And that's what I'm saying, like, I proved myself. So maybe what coach saw in me from the beginning of the season where I had to, like, deal with all this crap, maybe that's why. Maybe looking back, maybe that's why I wasn't given the opportunity that I was. Because maybe he was like, oh, he's playing lucky right now. Because all that spray crap that, like, ended by like 2/3 this season. So like I was actually able to kind of find my rhythm more, get workouts in and stuff like that. Like my key pass didn't work for the majority of the season to get into the gym. So if the gym was close to like average students, I wouldn't be allowed to get in. Which is just like now I could go into my gym till like 11 p.m. and I can go and put shots. You know what I mean? I can add a little pop, I'm in. So sorry, I'm going on it.
No, that's important though. Like people don't recognize like how important that rhythm is, and just being able to go in and get up shots at any point, and like throwing in like a couple different options. Like, yeah, and I think a lot of people probably experience that with COVID, but you have it amplified and under a microscope because you're doing it on a national stage, right? So it's definitely not something that I take lightly, and I hope those listening kind of recognize, you know, what a lot of athletes had to go through.
No, yeah, it was definitely crazy, but I'll kind of speed up. So yeah, that was very interesting, and then you know, this new coach change, and I gotta say, from the difference from BC to Lehigh, answering your original question, I've enjoyed it. You know, one of my highlights was when we first played Notre Dame. It was our first ACC win. And they had me on the headset. They're like, oh, look into that camera way up there. You know, we're live right now. We want you guys to talk to broadcasters. I'm like, wow, this is what they be doing in the league. Like, you know, and like just that moment, I'm just like, okay, wow, like this is really on a bigger level. You know what I mean? At Lehigh, I'd be lucky I get to talk to the radio after the game. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Or actually, no, sometimes but there was only select games that were televised at Lehigh. And so like you'd have to do well and win all those televised days. So like, you know, you have to be the top scorer. The game has to be televised, and yeah, you have to win. So like, yeah, it was kind of hard to get those like TV times. I only got like maybe once or twice on Lehigh, but so yeah, it was really cool. Just kind of put the headset in. So it was just really nice, and then just the whole like atmosphere being on campus. Like I have random people like, way to go, Karnik. I was like, never met you, but thank you for the support. You know what I mean? Like that, I'm really happy I was able to kind of experience that side of things, because that was kind of the Division I basketball was marketed to. You know what I mean? Like at Lehigh, the competition was there. Like I got to go to some bigger schools. I got to go to Auburn. I got to go to USC, University of Southern California, playing these big stadiums, right? But like when I kind of got back to my home school, like there were some games where like barely even any home fans. You know what I mean? Like
look like Aero Marriott stands.
Literally, yeah, I've been like this.
You're familiar.
I'm not one to complain about like fans or show ups and stuff, but it's just, you know, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So here is just kind of nice to like get kind of that support, and then transition from the first Boston college year to the second Boston college year. It was just another thing to figure out. I felt a little bit more prepared to attack it just because I had more tools to utilize. I had pretty much every tool I was given to me that I would have wanted given to me. School partnered with a meditation app. I'm a big avid user of meditation. Plus for me, I'm a big dude. Freshmen to seniors, they need their own. They have to live with a roommate on campus. My coaches were able to get me off campus living by myself. Another bonus. What was another thing? Just like being able to access the gym when I wanted to like pass a reasonable hour. I got access to that. What I mean? So I definitely got a lot of things. Like, I literally, if I wanted it, I saw the universe put in my life. So I'm really appreciative of that. And then just getting that opportunity. So definitely felt more prepared this year to kind of attack it. And then obviously, like I said, new program. So it's just getting the coach's trust and stuff like this. Like if I came back for a second years, I think coach would give me a pretty decent role coming up. But yeah, got to graduate. I got to get out of here. But yeah, so I think just having that more kind of trust, getting that opportunity, because when you first couple of games, it was like, okay, like who do we kind of go to? Right. And then we kind of like, oh, we'll try here. Right. And then it's kind of understanding that, oh, okay, we'll kind of switch up our looks. We got here, we got here, we got here. And then, like I said, getting that faith. But yeah, the fans have been crazy supportive this year. They like that idea of the new coach. We have this whole thing called Defend the Nut because we're in Chestnut Hill.
Okay.
Call them the hashtag sickos. So yeah, that's been pretty fun to be a part of. I was really happy to kind of be a part of this starting up program. So
I love it. You talk about the transition, getting used to it, like guys getting different looks. I imagine that would have been like amplified again when you were going through different high school prep programs as you were preparing to go to Lehigh. Like you said, you had one in BC, you went to Orangeville in Toronto, as well as one down in California. Like, what were those three, I guess, transitions like? Because that's not an easy thing to do, to go to three separate teams. You're traveling different time zones. You got a bunch of new teammates. Like, I can't imagine, especially as a young athlete, right? Like, that's a hard thing to wrap your head around. You're always dealing with different coaches who are looking for different things from a big man. Some want them to be doing more, some want them to be doing less. Maybe I'd love for you to shed some light on that, because we have a ton of athletes now who are like, what do I do? Do I stay local with my high school? Do I go to a prep school where I can get more exposure? Do I stay in Canada? Do I go down to the States? Do I go over to Europe? Like, there's so many options now. And I think you have a unique story. And at least if we can learn a bit more about yours specifically, uncover the onion a bit, I think it'll shine light for more kids.
So we could probably make a whole podcast just off of like my San Diego experience, let alone my whole prep, because that was probably the lowest point in my life in general. Yeah. The San Diego experience was crazy. Leaving at the age of 15 to go and live with another family, which there was issues there, to play for a coach that you didn't really know, issues there. It was just wild. Playing in Canada and playing in high school, it's a lot of playing for fun. Like if you're not playing and you're not having a smile on their court, there's usually something wrong, and you're usually probably not playing basketball the next year. Whenever I was playing back home, probably would always have a smile on my face, like 90% of the time playing, I would be dribbling the ball coast to coast, having fun. If I mess up, coach, come on, James, we gotta get a better look. I'll be like, okay, yeah, you're right. Sorry. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
San Diego, man, holy, like the biggest message that I would say to any kid looking to do stuff is just really know what you're getting into. Because there's a lot of people that tell you, like, go prep, it's the best target. And it can give you some opportunities, especially in Canada. Like it's hard unless you have somebody really looking out for you. It's hard to kind of get out of there. I understand that. But you really got to understand what you're getting out of. Like even in a good situation, still might be a bad situation. You know what I mean? Like when I was in Orangeville, I thought that was a really good situation. We had a couple people from BC. I was only remaining BC person after that, just because a lot of people couldn't take the being away from home, the type of teasing kids do. Like, you know what I mean? Prep school, there's some interesting guys there, you know what I mean? And you really don't have anybody looking out for you. You kind of got to look out for yourself. It's easier being a bigger physical guy. No one's going to really mess with you. But if you're a guard and you're going to prep school, you got to put some weight on, because it could be really rough. There's just some really interesting dudes that you might have on your team. But San Diego experience, holy, I got to give you a couple of stories just so you.
Yeah, let's get into it. I'm sorry that it was like a terrible experience for you though. Like, cause I know how amped you were when you were leaving, right? Like you were excited. Like,
But man made a big deal out of it.
100%, man. We were fired up for you.
After that was a closed door. I could not be like, hey guys, I'm back. Like, oh, this guy. You know what I mean? I could not come back after that. And maybe this is something, but I was this close. Talk about falling down and getting back up. I literally actually, you know what's funny? Before practice, I texted my mom. I said, I'm done. I don't want to play basketball here anymore. Take me home. I literally sent it to her before practice. And I finished out the practice. I was able to change my mind. But like, I literally was done. I was like, I'm not going to play college basketball. I'm just going to finish my time home. I'm done. It was crazy. It was that bad. Like, I'm fine if I burn bridges here, because I don't want any bridges with the people there. But holy, there was some wild things. So first of all, when you go to a school where the head coach is making money and he has a salary off of same thing that you come with college basketball, basketball's not for fun anymore. It's a job. So I literally went there, you know, this used to be my free throw, dribble, wrap around the back, dribble, shot. I was like, no, you're not doing that. You're not, that's a terrible free throw. You're not doing that. Anything that I would like to do for fun, I would like, you know, shoot some threes. No, you're not allowed to shoot. Strictly hook shots, layups, rebound. That's you. You know what I mean? Just your game, put in a box. That's the thing that I'm really, you know, you want to grade for about prep school. If you're a guard that wants to develop your game, like LaMelo Ball, if his dad wasn't his coach and he got put to some random, he would be put in a box. You know what I mean? Like LaMelo Ball's out here making behind the back pass. No. There are very select prep school coaches that will let you play, like, you know what I mean? Just have fun and play.
Get creative.
No. I remember I threw a behind the back pass in practice I repressed this. Wow. That's funny. I completely forgot about this memory. This isn't even a story I used to tell people, but I threw a behind the back pass, hit the dude in the chest. It went out of bounds because he just couldn't expect it. Like, it wasn't a bad pass. Hit him right in the chest. I had to run 3 suicides all under 28 seconds after that. Like, it was just wild. Like, it was great pass. You know what I mean? Shoot, I would still throw if I had an opportunity. I would still throw a behind the back pass in game now, because I know my capabilities. But after that, hell no.
I threw one behind the back pass in a game, and Coach Finley took me out after that. Just so that's on the record.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah. So we like I said, like, walks my game up. The team was together since like July, and I came in, I think I left late November, early December. That's when I left Earl Marriott. And so they're already well conditioned. You know, our punishment at Earl Marriott may be, you just got to go down back a couple times. No. Here it's like, you make a suicide, you make it under 28 seconds. If you don't make it, we're doing it again. And I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care who's not making it. You're running here to make it. I've been in practices with him because I played with him AAU again. And I've been in practices where he literally forced a guy to quit the team. He said, we're running 20 suicides until you make it or until you leave my court. And this is like, you know, the traditional big guy who's like, he just kind of posts up, he wasn't making them.
The guy who he's asking to hit hook shots, get layups and rebounds. He's asking him to do a suicide in 28 seconds.
Yeah. Luckily I was athletic enough to kind of make it. But, you know, like in AAU, like most AAU programs, you know, it's just guys coming from different schools, right? Different backgrounds, right? No. This guy had to fake an injury for his pride. fake injury. Oh, coach, I gotta sit down. And he's like, no, get out of the gym.
Wow.
And
What a shame.
yeah, this guy was like some ex-military, supposedly played in the NBA, like just crazy. But anyway, so like some of my stories, so mine just like there's that. Like I just remember my body just being sore from day one. Like I literally like my mom's, I made my mom buy icy hot because like my parents stayed with me for like the 2 days until I got put in a host family, which is a whole nother story. Terrible experience with the host family. They did not take care of me. I lost 20 pounds because they were underfeeding. They were underfeeding me.
Yeah.
Terrible people. I'll gladly say, or terrible one person. I'm not sure if the wife was that bad of a person. Yeah, not the greatest people. Definitely just doing it for the money, which they clearly say they weren't, but they were. I'll get into that another time. But so I lost weight doing that. So before I lived with this family, I like was smearing icy hot everywhere. My legs were I didn't realize how sore your groin could get just because for a warm-up, we're talking after we're done stretching, for a warm-up, we did something called the extra, which is defensive slide, defensive slide, defensive slide, defensive slide, defense. And obviously, I'm trying to say, oh, I can play with these guys. So I'm like busting my ass doing this, right? These guys have been doing this since July. So of course their groins are like iron now. They're adapt to this. So I did all this. And then here, I'll give you some crazy stories now. So now that I would adjust, finally was making the suicides, I wasn't like the weak chain in the link, I was actually holding my own. I was actually starting to perform better because I was able to adjust, my body was able to adjust. And I remember that we did this one thing. It was like a charge drill, or no, not charge. It was like a defensive drill. And as offense, you're supposed to jab, dribble, and then get to the rim. And there was harsh punishments on defense if you get exposed. So I jabbed, dude, full on closed arm me. Instead of finishing like a normal person, I went and ground my nose because I was gushing with blood. And my coach was like, James, what is that pussy shit? He's like, give me 2, 3, give me 4 suicides on the sideline. Yo, Coach Ollie, go time him. I'm like, I'm bleeding. Don't you see the gut? He's like, go. I had to run 4 suicides under 28 seconds with my nose gushing. It was so bad. I was like, I started seeing my little blood trail, and I just started getting more and more blood. It was so bad. There was supposed to be like pickleball or like some like tennis or something in the gym. They closed it for like 40 minutes. They had said, sorry, closed for cleaning. They closed the gym because I had to mop up all my blood off the floor. I just remember seeing a kind of like spickles. So, like a sweat stain that you'll get on your shirt. You have yeah. I remember I wiped my face after this, and I had like a blood stain coming down here, just of all the blood from all the nose blood coming down my nose. I'm 15 years old. At this age, your type of express, you expect, adults know. I was actually having this conversation with my brother. You expect adults know the best. At least this is how I was raised. You respect adults, and they might have a deeper meaning. Like they're all like people society, right? You don't really at this age. You don't really question like, hey, well, at least I was taught really not to. Like, hey, like this guy might not be for my best interest, or hey, this guy might not really know what's up, or hey, when I'm being underfed, like, hey, like there might be something wrong with this guy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I just, I'm 15 years old. I just don't question. I'm like, okay, he's the adult. Respect them. Yeah. It was my host trainer was so bad. Sorry for cutting you off. I told my head coach when I was leaving, I was like, hey, you do not want to send another person with this guy. Like, he's not good. The coach didn't listen to me. He put 2 other guys in there after me because I had another player living with this guy. We left. So another player that was in my position actually hit this man. This man was like a 67-year-old dude, just treating kids terrible. Literally swung on him and hit him because he was being disrespected and just treated poorly by this guy.
Oh, yeah. It is a shame that like you have those individuals that decide that they're gonna try and have an impact on a young person's life. Like they're going to be a billet family, or they're going to take in athletes, support them along their journey. Like it is a shame. And you know what? Like we are taught from a young age to expect and just assume that people have our best interests. And it's a shame because the truth of the matter is it's not 100% true. You hope, and maybe at first glance you give everyone that option, but If they treat you poorly, like it sounds like they did, then yeah, they shouldn't be involved. And like that is something for athletes to be aware of and just cognizant of, hey, like I want to make sure that where I'm going and who I'm with is going to be positively impacting my career and my aspirations. Because if they're not doing that, then they shouldn't be involved. But let's move like to some maybe more positive notes here. No, dude, that's okay, man. You're like, hey, you're draft eligible, dude. Bro, you're draft eligible this year. Like, tell me what you are thinking, how you feel right now compared to 10 years ago when we were grade 8 and 9 at Earl Marriott and just dribbling up and down the court, having fun, like you said, smiling, playing ball, to now legitimately having a shot at making it to the league. Like, how does that impact you? How are you kind of trying to maybe go about your next couple months here? Because they're pretty important.
So I can kind of give you my ideal situation and then, a little bit more realistic situation. So pretty much, I've been contacted by quite a few agents. Each one's kind of telling me different things. Some of them are trying to even get me to play in Japan. So there's a lot of money there, different places in Europe. So ideally, what I finish out this year strong, and I get a couple NBA workouts, and I just hopefully just show my butt off in this NBA workouts and maybe get a two-way contract. That'd be kind of my ideal situation. NBA obviously very, very competitive. So realistically, what's going to most likely happen is, I'm hoping I'll get my NBA workouts. I'm trying to get in the summer league. I had some agents tell me that, they're confident that they might be able to get me in the summer league, which will be huge if I could get in the summer league. From that, I'm looking, I don't know exactly where, but potentially Europe somewhere, get a contract there and just kind of build my professional resume to make it into NBA. But man, you never know. I could not really tell, maybe G League. And I wish I had the answers, man. I definitely say if I had a little bit more consistent of a season, it'd be a little bit easier to say. I could say, yeah, I think I'm going to be able to make in the G League 100%, or yeah, I will be able to get two-way or something. But it's tough, man. Like I said, there's a lot of times, like in my situation, this team, we have another really good big guy, and how it's been for us, I'm not sure really it's fair, but we because of injuries and stuff, we've both been able to start together. But how it's been is, if one of us is having a good game, the other one doesn't really get minutes regardless of how we're playing. Like there was a game I shot 4 for 4. I had 8 points, right? But he was going for a career high. And so unfortunately I got 15 minutes that game, you know what I mean? Which is, it's unfortunate, but and luckily Coach now found a way where we can kind of both play. And so we're both able to get good solid minutes. And that's why I've been able to kind of play more consistently. But like I said, new team, new coaches, we weren't really sure how to kind of operate things. So there's a lot of games where I only got 12, 15 minutes, which there's nothing you can really do with that time. You know what I mean? Even you put some of the best players there and give them 12 minutes, especially if it's a 12 minutes where they're not highly, we're going towards the player. It's hard to be productive in those times. So that kind of hurt my overall look. But like I said, I know I'm capable. I've had some really good games, 26 against Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech, 21 against Duke. So I've definitely showcased that I've had some skills, and I've had some people say some really great things, which I'm very appreciative about me. So just depends what type of agent I'm able to find and what type of how well they are able to use their voice and market me. And then it's just on me to, if I get these workouts, to show my workouts. And at the end of the day, like I said, ups and downs, my path, my mom loves telling this, my path has been a lot different from most people and most athletes, most people in my situation. So, I believe I'm going to make the NBA one day, but I'm fully ready. Just, I mean, I've been to 2 universities, 3 prep schools, 4 high schools. Like I said, didn't get the graduation stuff. My path is, so it'd be too easy if I just got an NBA. I mean, I want it, but it'd be just too easy if I just got a contract. It just, I've already been blessed with so many things in my life that, I mean, I feel like one up there is making me, it's like, now you gotta have to work a little bit harder for that, right? So
Yeah, bro, your last 6 games, you've been averaging over a double-double. And this is like, I think a lot of people will recognize, like, once you get consistent minutes, once you get into a rhythm, you're a phenomenal player with tremendous upside. And I think, like, to your point, what you're capable of. If it doesn't happen right now, dude, you're still young. That's the crazy part. Like, we're so young, man. Anyone under 25 listening to this, if they still have aspirations, can feasibly get to wherever they want to be. As crazy as that sounds, it's reality. And it's like the power of compounding interest with money, the power of compounding with workouts. Like, when you put in the effort day in and day out, you're going to see the results long term. And that's like kind of what I want to leave individuals with, is like your story and how inspirational it is. And I think, like, this has been an incredible 115th episode, just so we're clear. I wanted to make sure that was on the record. But, like, just for people to know kind of your work ethic, what you've been through, like, listening over this past hour, is pretty eye-opening to see what it takes and the struggle that's involved, the highs, like you said. But I think overall what I'm gathering is the fact that you have that confidence no matter what, that you're going to succeed, and it's just a matter of when, not if. So the way we wrap up every episode is asking, like, what our guest's biggest piece of advice would be to the next generation of athletes. And you've already touched on that. So I want to maybe have you highlight what you think a basketball player at a young age right now should really be putting an emphasis on, despite their size, despite their abilities. Like, what are some core things that you wish when you were 10, 12 years old, you were told from someone in Div 1 NBA level?
I'm about to go in.
Love
So
it.
I have so many pieces of advice. So hopefully I don't drag this on too long. First piece of advice, if you're within like the age of like 7 and 13, do multiple sports. You might think you love basketball. I love basketball, but there's times where I love football more, where I love volleyball more. And just being able, I think, like I said, being able to have that smile on the basketball court comes with when you play with other sports. Because when you have other fun with other sports and you maybe don't take them as serious as you take basketball, you're able to kind of translate that on your basketball court. If I had a lot of fun playing volleyball, I was able to kind of approach the basketball season playing more, having more fun. And then also, like I said, if you're a younger age, if you're playing soccer or something like that, the footwork you're going to get from that and the hand, foot-eye coordination, stuff like that will translate on the basketball court with good footwork. It'll kind of help you to kind of develop other things. So I believe that's one thing. Two, like I said, don't limit yourself. I feel like one thing that my brother kind of regrets is I think at the age of 16, was told just play basketball. Even though he's still having a lot of fun playing with me, I was playing so many sports that like I really couldn't play another sport. So like, and I wanted to pursue basketball over those other sports. So that's why I kind of limited it off. But my brother was still enjoying playing like rugby and other sports. So I think in his situation, it might have been better just for him to kind of continue playing that. Now I'll kind of progress when you get kind of older. So when you're like 17, 18, you talked about the prep school. I kind of identified that knowing what you should get into. Prep school is very unforgiving place. A lot of kids might not be raised as well as your background or stuff are going to be coming all together. They're going to be rude. They're going to be making fun of people. They're going to be pulling pranks. So in those situations, you're going to have to be able to hold your own or, make sure that you're mentally strong enough to be away from home as well. I've just seen a lot. I was always luckily because I was a bigger guy, I found that I was kind of able to help kids that weren't really able to defend themselves as much. Yeah. Athlete Institute, there's some wild things that happen, you know. My thing, I would just go around tickling guys. That was kind of my thing, you know. But uh but yeah, there's some wild things. So yeah, I would just say it's going to be a big step going to prep school. Like I said, they're going to try to box your game up. So I would say being able to have your game refined enough, like that's when you go to prep school, that's when you're going to have to start taking basketball serious. You know, I mean, you might be able to find a coach where you're still able to kind of have some fun with it, but you know, you're not going to be able to just do what you want. You know, I mean, like, if you're the type of guy, I'm going to take this bad shot just because why the hell not? You know what I mean? Like, that can really affect you, right? And you're definitely, there's going to be times where you're going to have to defend yourself and like prove yourself on the court, because there's going to be kind of people coming at you, coming for your spot. In high school, usually, if you're thinking about prep school, you're probably usually one of the best kids on your high school team. So you can show in, day out, and just do what you want, and you'll be fine. And then lastly, I'll just say, like I said, you can have the work ethic, but it really takes the commitment, and the commitment is something that I had over the work ethic. I'll easily say that not even until my second year of college, I definitely did not have the work ethic. I was solely just relying on my sheer competitiveness and just wanting it more. That's honestly where and just luckily genetically, I had a bigger body. So with competitiveness, I was able to kind of use that. But I wasn't really able to refine or be considered a talented player probably until my sophomore year, when I was able to really work on certain things in the game. Luckily, I found a trainer.
3C training.
3C training.
Yeah, there you go.
To kind of help develop me and show me how to properly work out. Because if I were to go in the workout, you know, maybe I'll just go and shoot some couple of threes. Okay, I'll do some hook shots. All right, let's practice my dunking, try to get up high as I can, right? That's not really a workout. I'm not really targeting anything, right? What's something I'm gonna really take out of that game? Oh, I shot a couple of threes. No, like now I'm really able, okay, let's get a lot from this spot. Let's try to hit some in a row. You know, I mean, let's really focus on certain aspects of it. Okay, now we're going to be working the hook shots, or now we're going to be working on this certain footwork move, right? So I will say, but the thing is even though I don't have that work ethic, I had the commitment. I was able to make sure I was sacrificing things that other people weren't willing to sacrifice. I'm saying Division I is not all it is. Like I said, even this own year, when I feel like I've had a relatively all right year, there was times where I'm like, maybe this isn't for me. You know what I mean? But there is a lot of sacrifices and a lot of mental challenges, not even physical, that you're going to have to go through playing at Division I level. And that's something that maybe prep school kind of got me ready for, because I went through a lot of crazy situations going through that. So being able to mentally be willing to fight through that, I feel like that's something that some people, once they kind of go through these mental challenges, like, okay, take me home. I want to be with my family. And being able to make those sacrifices, I think is just solely what got me where I was, over my work ethic or over my talent or over my physique. So yeah, I would say that. And then once you kind of be able to harness that, then just find a routine that works for you. This is like I said, once you're older, 17, 18, getting ready for college, and you're wanting to, I would say, just find a routine that works for you. Find a way to be consistent with that. You know, you're going to have to be times where you limit distractions, tell friends, I'm sorry, I can't go out, or, hey, you're going to have to meet me in the middle. Let's go out during the day, because I want to go out this time. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's about it.
Dude, I love it. That was like the most detailed answer we've had in a long time, and I appreciate that. I think that's what kids need nowadays, and that's what people need, honestly, is some insight as to what people are doing to see success. Obviously, you've seen a ton of success, so much more to come. James Karnik, I sincerely appreciate you being the 115th episode of the Athletes Podcast. Major feature. I want to also highlight the merchandise you've created. You're putting it all out for charity, all the proceeds. So maybe shine a little light on where people can find that, you on social media.
Yeah, so at James Karnik on Instagram, it's in my bio. I'm actually dropping a new shirt real soon here. Yeah, all proceeds is going to the National Children's Fund of America or something like that. It just pretty much helps kids and less fortunate situations. Just kind of help them out there. But yeah, at James Karnik. Feel free to find that. But yeah, I really appreciate you having me on here, David. It's been fun talking to you. I'm glad to see you got this little thing going on. It's good to kind of reminisce a little bit. And yeah.
Hey, first of many, man. We'll be having more conversations in the future. Appreciate you.